Cowabunga, my cute candy lovers. Welcome to Voicey here. This is your host that loves alliteration, Captain Zach, and today's subreddit is r/EntitledParents.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.
This story's called Entitled Cousin Tries to Get Everything I Have. My car, my money, my own boyfriend, and my entitled aunt is supporting her. Yup, you heard that right. My entitled cousin, who we will call Faith, tried to take everything I ever had. There's a good pun there, I know it. And she loves my entitled aunt. Like, adores her so much that Faith would do anything to please her. She was very special, to say the least. My aunt adopted a girl who grew up to literally be like the mini version of my aunt. She was rude, mean, extremely demanding, and her favorite line was, "You can't hurt me, we are family." I never really paid attention to her, nor liked her at all. She was a spoiled brat. My cousin, I dubbed the Lucas, ignored her. Lucas was never neglected though, because our grandma was the one taking care of him the most, while our aunt, Brittany, because I hate that name, no offense to all the Britneys out there, doted and adored her. Faith got poisoned by Aunt Brittany, and now there's no turning back. I made a story about my entitled aunt who treats me like a slave in another story. Not gonna lie, I written it badly. I'm surprised it got so much support, thank you guys. Real quick to clarify, my entitled aunt is Aunt Brittany. My entitled cousin is Faith. The best cousin ever is Lucas. And I'll go ahead and go by my username, OP. Nice try. And my boyfriend will be called Thomas for this story. Let's begin. I was 17 at the time, and it was Christmas. I worked 2 part-time jobs in order to make my own money and to be able to afford all the gifts I got from my family and my boyfriend. We were all at my aunt's place for this Christmas. Some days were good and others were bad. But it all got worse when my aunt adopted Faith. She hated me with a burning passion. First day I met her, I was cuddling with my boyfriend on the couch, and her, my aunt, my grandmother, and Lucas all came over for Thanksgiving about 2 years ago. I stood up and greeted her all nicely, of course, saying, "Hello, I'm OP. You must be my new cousin." I tried to shake her hand, but she ignored me and glared at me. She just told me to not wear those disgusting rags and walked off. Now, Aunt Brittany spoiled Faith with literally anything. She got her first phone at 6. Nearly every Barbie doll, expensive clothes, got her first credit card at the age of 10. And she didn't have to break a sweat. She's younger than I was, only by a year, but she tries to act so high up. Christmas was the best day. What better day than to spend time with your loved ones, excluding Faith and Aunt Brittany, and your own boyfriend? I pulled up into her driveway, my mother beside me in the passenger seat, and my father and boyfriend in the back seats of the car. I hopped out and grabbed the honey-roasted ham and locked up as everyone shuffled their way into the house. Grandma had her arms wide open and Lucas was bugging me to hurry up. As I tried to catch up and not drop the ham, a high-pitched ahem caught my attention. This is the conversation that followed. "Oh, hey Faith." Faith eyeing me up and down multiple times. "Why are you in those rags?" "Rags? Oh, you mean my new clothes?" I tried to walk into the house because it was quite chilly, but she stopped me.
"Listen, OP, my aunt told me that since we are cousins, I get to have what you get."
What? She's joking, right?
"Well, duh! We are both girls, and out of us, I'm probably the best looking one, so we should share. I can even give you tips on how you dress."
I shuffled past her, jumping into the house because it was freezing. I gave the ham to my father and took off my jacket, hat, gloves, and boots. I hung up my car keys and went into the living room. A few hours passed. I, my boyfriend, and my family all sat down together, talking and chatting and just enjoying the time, until I heard a sudden screech coming from outside. I hopped up and sprinted, pushing the screen door, and I saw my aunt smugly watching as my cousin, Faith, tried to drive my car. I hopped out, not caring about the cold, and stormed up to my aunt. "What do you think you're doing?" I snapped at her, trying not to fume. Brittany, innocently talking.
"Oh, well, Faith wanted to try and drive, and so I told her to get your keys and she can drive your car."
Me annoyed. I never gave her permission. Now tell her to get out.
Honey,
I hate when she tries to act all sweet to me.
you should share your stuff with her. It's just her by herself and her brother Lucas.
I ignored her and stormed up to Faith. She drove off the driveway and into the snowy sidewalks and got my car stuck. I told her to get out of my car or else. She got out, looking smug as ever, and threw the keys at me.
I don't even like your trash car anyways.
And stormed off, complaining to Brittany that I wasn't being nice and that I was so rude to her. I huffed and called out for some help. Me and my family got my car unstuck, luckily, but what was beginning to piss me off was now she tried going after my boyfriend. She was standing close to him, laughing and smiling, playfully hitting him. Once he saw me, he got away from Faith and went straight towards me. I told Thomas to stay inside and I confronted Faith. Me, visibly angry? What the hell do you think you are doing?
Oh, why I was talking to Thomas. He's so sweet and I love...
I stopped her, beyond angry. I'm very protective over my boyfriend and I get jealous easily. Don't talk to him. Don't try and touch him. Don't stand near him. Got it? I was pissed. Faith, giving me a smug look.
And what are you going to do about it, OP? Why did Thomas even choose you? You're a pig compared to me.
Me, desperately trying not to scream. At least I don't squeal like one when I don't get my way. And I stormed away. Throughout my stay, over and over, Faith tried being and getting close to my boyfriend. And multiple times, she took my car without permission and drove it around. It was so incredibly frustrating. I was going to go out and get a few more presents in stores. I grabbed my car keys and then looked into my wallet to try and see how much cash I saved up. It's empty. My wallet had no cash in it. Confused, I checked my pockets, my jacket pockets, and the inside of my bag, but still, no money. I asked my parents what happened to my money in my wallet. They had no idea. I told them I somehow can't find my $200. A couple hours later, and my aunt and cousin walked in, holding bags of new clothes. I asked them when did they get this, when did they go out, and it was right around the time I was trying to go out and get the rest of the gifts. Faith was looking at me, snooty. Her nose pointed at the air and she was grinning. Do you know what happened to my money?
No, OP, but I did find $200 and it was so lucky of me. I decided to take my mother out for some shopping and look at all the ones.
I cut her off, starting to feel my blood boil. Where was this $200 found? I was gritting my teeth.
Why, I found it in a bag. I don't know whose it was, but it was sure a lucky find.
And she made her way upstairs. I went after her, but my boyfriend stopped me. Let it go. She's trying to get you to do something to her. Whoa. He grabbed both my shoulders as I squirmed, wanting to fly up the stairs and literally sock my cousin in the face. Me slightly yelling, I saved up that much money so I can buy the rest of the gifts. She went through my bag and took my money, and my aunt didn't even say a freaking word. I was shaking with how selfish and how entitled she is. Just because she is getting everything from her mom, she ain't getting jack from me. Thomas hugged me and told me to relax, that it'll be okay and that I shouldn't be so upset. But oh, it got far, far worse. Ever since Faith took my cash, she's been deliberately trying to get me to give her everything. And when she doesn't get her way, she screams for her mother, saying,
OP isn't letting me have this, or Mom, she isn't sharing her car with me.
Then my parents would have to get involved and practically beat my aunt back to wherever she came from before Faith summoned for her again. That Christmas week was the worst, and I still remember it. I had an entire headache the entire time. I bit my tongue every time Faith asked me something that she wanted. On the last day of that week, my parents and boyfriend all scurried into the car. I could tell they all hated the tension between me, my cousin, and aunt. I was the last one, saying bye to my grandma. She was the sweetest thing during the time I was there. And Lucas, who instead of a cousin, I'd like to call brother. He was there for me too. I made my way out before my aunt tapped my shoulder.
Aren't you gonna say bye to me and your cousin? How rude are you? God, I'm so glad I'm not you.
Me just wanting to leave, I say, okay, and I walked away. I heard them spit rude things about me, saying how Thomas won't stay with me, how ugly and fat I am. You know, the usual girl bullying type of thing. I was sitting in the back of the car with Thomas as my dad was the one driving this time. As we pulled away, I saw both Faith and Aunt Brittany glaring at me. That's when I rolled down my window and flipped in the bird, and we all drove home. Thank you for reading my story. I hope it's not too long, and I hope I didn't bore any of you. I will never ever get over how stupid my aunt is. And now that she has a mini her, I gotta deal with her more. Thank you again for reading, even if you didn't like it. Thanks for taking your time to read my second encounter with my aunt and her little devil child. Stay safe with this Modelo virus. Wow, those are entitled individuals, and I don't understand why Faith hates OP so much. Any ideas? Like, come on, why is she such a faithing Britney? This story's called Entitled Mom Thinks I Should Lend Her Kid My Laptop. Hey, never thought of posting this, but left it as a comment on another post, and OP there thinks it deserves its own thread. So here goes. Characters, me, entitled mother, entitled child. Last Christmas, I'm on the plane home to visit family. It's a 3-hour flight, and after a while, I take my laptop out. I'm sitting in the window seat, and next to me, in the middle, is a fat, annoying, little entitled child. I'm guessing somewhere around 10 or so, and next to him, his entitled mother. So I start playing a game, Evil Bank Manager if you're interested, and after a few minutes, I see the entitled child is looking at me and my laptop. Entitled child and entitled mom talk among themselves in a language I didn't recognize. In any case, a few minutes later, entitled mother pops the question. Excuse me, sir. My son thinks your game is very fun. Would you mind lending him your computer so he can play and pass the time? Well, I don't know. She wasn't rude, and I guess it's not an unreasonable thing to ask, but here's my logic. I owe you and your child nothing. He is your child, not mine. We don't even know each other, and we just happen to be sitting in the same row by the sheer vicissitudes of fate. Also, I charged my laptop and prepped for this because, hey, I wanted to have something to do to pass the time. So I tell her exactly that. I'm sorry, but no, I planned on playing some games to pass the time myself. She pulls a face and goes, oh, come on, he's just a kid. You're old enough not to play games anyway. I'm 30. How can you say no to a kid? Really, baseball pitcher? It's still a solid no, and now I'm getting pissed off. Mind your own damn business. So I basically just tell her it's a strong no and I'm sorry. She huffs and says fine and then goes back to speaking with entitled child in their language. The kid just sat there afterwards, huffing and puffing and staring daggers at me. I just don't get these people. I mean, it's okay to ask, and I'm getting there are some kind strangers out there who will do you a solid and all, but if I said no, then be respectful enough and don't push it further. The world doesn't revolve around you and your kid, and not only are you rude and disrespectful, in my opinion, you are a horrible parent because you are basically telling your child they are entitled to whatever they want, even if it belongs to someone else, that they come first. So, this kid is quite likely gonna grow up into a butthole. How do people do this? Like, y'all, I literally don't even like asking waiters or whatever for extra napkins or something. I just don't like asking other people to do things for me, even if they're paid to do it, because I just feel bad. Even if they don't freaking mind, I feel bad. Like, I feel like I'm acting entitled. And then there's people like this, just asking strangers and getting mad at strangers when they don't freaking give your kid their laptop. Okay, there is a lot of potential for something to go horribly wrong when you give a child your laptop, a child you don't know. Okay, obviously, they can do some damage, but so can you. This story's called Entitled Mom Reads My Diary, Then Makes Me Apologize for It. I think this one happened when I was 11. Still stings. At the time, I didn't realize the extent to how entitled, manipulative, and cruel my mother was, but I knew from a young age I really didn't like living with her. I had written an entry in my diary about how much I preferred the weekends I spent at my dad's place over at home with my mom. stating it was mainly because he expected much less of me chores-wise, and I got to stay up as late as I wanted on the computer. I came home from whatever I was out doing. Anytime my mom is having one of her fits where she gives me the cold shoulder, like I forgot her birthday or something, she makes an effort to show me that she's upset by ignoring me, only calling my brother for tasks, death glares, etc. I have no idea what I've done wrong until I go in my room and see my diary was no longer hidden but on my bed in plain sight. My mother had written in it that she was so excited to see what kind of writing I had been doing in the journal that she had been so kind to buy me, and was devastated to learn that I preferred time with my dad. It was a few paragraphs explaining why it wasn't fair to say that the weekends with my dad were more fun, because of course there'd be less to clean over a short weekend. How she was looking out for me by limiting my computer time, she's a responsible parent, my dad doesn't help or care like he should, guilt trip and condescending comments she's heard, etc. The only way to get my mom to talk to me again was to apologize to her. So I learned the tough lesson of swallowing my pride and wrote her a letter in the diary saying sorry and explaining why I was wrong. I think I let her keep the whole book because I never felt safe enough to keep a diary at home after this happened. Yeah, that's screwed up. Okay, lesson to parents out there, you're gonna want to give your kids some privacy, otherwise they're going to hide stuff from you. Okay, it's one thing to have things that are private, and there's another thing to have something that's hidden. Like, come on, don't snoop on your kids. You gotta make them feel safe and comfortable in their own home. Because this is ridiculous. You're just gonna ruin your relationship with your kid if you do stuff like this. So stupid.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.